want to extend his contract. They can't do that for another month until August 2nd. In between now and then, though, they need to make sure that they improve their roster so that he's excited about signing a long-term contract extension, specifically at the center position. Also, LeBron James has an option in the decision in his contract. He has to decide whether to opt out by Sunday. The expectation is he will opt in to his $53 million deal. Austin Reeves turned down a contract extension this week, but don't overreact to that. That was expected. The Lakers will hope to have him signed up to a new deal next year.
Lots going on in L.A. Excitement around, obviously, what they can be with Luka. LeBron still with at least, I guess, 1 year left. We don't know. But in order, they talk about championships in L.A. Like, that's what matters. So how do they get back to that level?
Well, you would love to mirror what he did in Dallas when they had Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. Unfortunately, both those players are probably not available to get them to Los Angeles here. It starts with the center position, but how do you go out and acquire one? They have the $5.7 million tax mid-level exception to go out and sign a player. It's a below average in total free agent market here. When you look at players like, certainly Luke Cornett is an interesting name. Jackson Hayes, who was here last year. Al Horford, who is 39 years old. Clint Capella is an interesting name. That is the priority. Now, outside of free agency, you're looking at the trade market. You're looking at the players on your own roster, whether it be Gabe Vincent or Rui Hachimura, Maxi Kleber, who are all on expiring contracts. You have $60 million plus, and you've got a first-round pick in 2031. But it takes two to tango. I was going through some names when I was sitting on the side here, and I'm having a hard time coming up with a true trade that the Lakers could do right now.
Tim, what do you think the Lakers' priority needs to be in these upcoming months?
Well, as Bobby said, the challenge here is figuring out who to plug into the holes the Lakers have. The holes are pretty clear. It starts with that center, preferably a rim-running center who can protect the rim, which has always been a great thing for Luka Doncic to have. They need more perimeter defense. They need more shooting across the roster for guys like LeBron James and Luka Doncic to set up for open threes. One thing those guys are both excellent at doing. So, look, the thing to look at with the Lakers is, as you said, Roz, the goal is to win championships. They lost in 5 games in the first round to the Wolves. The Wolves lost in 5 games in the conference finals to the eventual champion Oklahoma City Thunder. That is the gap that we're talking about the Lakers having to make up. And to do that's going to require a lot of work and a lot of assets, which the latter of which the Lakers do not really have. So it's going to require a lot of creativity from Rob Pelinka, some use of the fact that they are in L.A., the fact that they've got LeBron and Luka there to try to entice some guys to come. But it is not going to be easy for the Lakers to fill in these holes on their roster and catch up to a Thunder team that is the deepest team in the league, already one of the youngest champions ever, and is only going to be better with the experience they gained over the past couple of months.
Like the switch from L.A. to Milwaukee.
He has a really big decision whether to extend his contract with the Lakers coming up. Now, he can't do that for a month until August 2nd, but that doesn't mean the Lakers don't have to get busy, because they're going to, when they go to Luka with that deal, which they hope to get him to sign for 4 years, he may take a shorter contract. They're going to want to have shown him what they've done to improve this roster, specifically to get him a center. That's one of the things he asked for when he got traded there. It was one of the things they did in Dallas, which really helped supercharge that team. The Lakers have got to get to work on that. Also, LeBron James has a decision to make over the weekend. He has until Sunday to decide on his contract option. It's $53 million. Last year in this same position, he opted out of his contract, offered the Lakers to take a pay cut if they could find a free agent to sign. They didn't. This year, no such offer has been made, and the expectation is that LeBron will opt into this deal and take $53 million and his no-trade clause into next season. And then, obviously, we have one more thing, which is the Austin Reeves situation. He turned down a 4-year, $90 million contract extension this week. That was expected. He can sign for more next season when he can become a free agent and probably attract, if he has another good year, Dan, a 9-figure contract.
Yeah, that's good for him. But in the meantime, the Lakers, nobody made a bigger move than they made during the season when they got Luka Doncic. And as Wendy pointed out, now they got to convince him they're going to build a championship team around him. How do they do that?
Yeah, and Rob Pelinka, their general manager, he was up front, certainly at the deadline after the Luka trade when they tried to go acquire Mark Williams, and that trade was rescinded. And then when they lost in the postseason, he said, well, that's our priority right now. Here's what they have to offer in free agency in the trade market. They have the $5.7 million tax mid-level exception. What does that get you? It could get you a player like maybe Luke Cornett. The market of free agent centers is very shallow. Al Horford is certainly another name. Larry Nance Jr. Certainly Jackson Hayes, who is already there. Precious Achiuwa, Clint Capella. Those are some of your veterans there. Mason Plumlee, as we said. The other thing to focus on is the trade market. They have over $60 million in expiring contracts. Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura. They've got a first-round pick in 2031 or 32 to go out and make a deal. It's interesting, yesterday the Lakers sent out cash in a trade with Chicago. That has hard capped them at the second apron. They've got the flexibility still to make a deal. They're about $16 million under. So they have to prioritize how to make the money work. They're not allowed to take back more money in a trade. So if they trade a $12 million player, they can't take back $14 million in salary because of the apron rule. So we'll watch what the Lakers do over the next couple of weeks here.
Tim Bontemps, what do you think the Lakers should be doing over the next couple of weeks here?
Well, Bobby just nailed it, Graz. They have to go get a center. They have to also get some shooting on the perimeter. They need some more athleticism defensively on the perimeter. And look, all you got to do is look at how the Western Conference playoffs shook out. The Lakers lost in 5 games in the first round of the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was not a incredibly competitive series. And the Minnesota Timberwolves went on to make the Western Conference Finals and lost in 5 games to the Oklahoma City Thunder in what it was a not very competitive series. So when you look at the gap that the Lakers have to make up to catch up to a team like Oklahoma City, the defending champions, who should be even better next season with a young roster, getting better and more experienced, and now going through the 4 weeks or the several weeks that it takes to win the 4 rounds to win a championship. The Lakers have a lot of work to do this summer to get to that kind of level, obviously with limited assets, as Bobby just laid out. But the first thing they have to do is go out and find a center. You look through that available list, there is not exactly a guy sitting there that's going to be the kind of lob threat and rim protector that Luka Doncic thrives so much playing alongside.
Wendy, how do you see this summer playing out for the Lakers?
Yeah, so none of those players, quite frankly, are a player that Luka Doncic is looking for, because they're not the lob threat and defensive center that fits. And that's really what really transformed his situation in Dallas when they went out and got Derek Lively, when they went out and got Daniel Gafford. So the Lakers are going to have to use these expiring contracts. And I will say, there should be a deal for them to make. Now, whether or not it will transform them as a team, I don't know. But they've prioritized it. They've had months to analyze it. They've had months to have negotiations. There's no reason why in the next few days they shouldn't be able to execute a trade. If they do not, they are going to basically be going to Luka and saying, hey, trust us. And maybe Luka will. Luka has given no indication that he won't sign that contract. But ideally, you want to get that locked up so that you can approach with new ownership a multi-year approach to building around Luka Doncic.
Right, so we'll keep a close eye on that. We're also keeping a close eye on Giannis LA.
Yeah, so August 2nd is a very important day for the Lakers. Why? Because that's the day Luka Doncic can extend his contract. He only has 1 guaranteed year left on his deal. Ideally, the Lakers want to get him into a multi-year deal, and they need to do some work on their